Welcome back to Edge Elevated. Today we're doing something a lot of families can relate to. We're taking a real life budget and getting AI to build a complete debt payoff plan. If you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure where to even start with your debt, this video is going to give you clarity and a plan you can actually follow. Stay tuned so you can see how AI built me a plan to pay off over $27,000 in debt in just 31 months. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor and neither is ChatGPT. This video isn't financial advice. I'm just showing you how AI can help break down a real life debt situation and create a simple plan you can learn from. Debt isn't just numbers on a screen, it's stress. It's that feeling of being stuck or like you're working hard every single day but never getting ahead. Most families aren't dealing with just one bill. They got a mortgage, a car payment, a credit card, student loans, medical bills, and life doesn't slow down just because the money's tight. And when you're juggling all that, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or confused about where to even start. That's why this video matters. AI can take a messy financial situation and turn it into a clear step-by-step plan that actually makes sense. Something you can follow, something that gives you direction, and something that gives you hope. Okay, let's jump into this. All you need to do is pull up your internet browser and head over to ChatGPT. This is where the real work begins, because from here, all you have to do is start typing in the information you want ChatGPT to use to build a debt payoff plan for your unique situation. For this example, I'm going to start by giving ChatGPT the basic information it needs. Right here, I'm typing in a simple breakdown of the debts, the balances, the interest rates, and the minimum payments. You don't have to overthink this part. Just list out your numbers as clearly as you can. The clearer the information you give it, the clearer the payoff plan is going to build for you. Alright, let's run this and see what ChatGPT does with it. Alright, so ChatGPT is taking everything I just typed in and breaking it down step by step. The first thing it does is look at the overall financial picture, the income, the monthly expenses, and how much money is left over each month. In this example, after all the bills and normal living expenses are paid, there's about $495 left over. That number is important because that's the money ChatGPT is going to use to speed up the debt payoff plan. You can see it lays out everything really clearly. Mortgage, car payment, student loan, credit card minimum, utilities, groceries, gas, entertainment, insurance, all of it. It makes it super easy to understand where the money's going each month. Next, ChatGPT lists out all the debts with their balances and interest rates. This is where the plan really starts to take shape because the interest rate tells you which debts are costing you the most money over time. Then it walks through the two most common payoff strategies, the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. Snowball focuses on the smallest balance first to build motivation. Avalanche focuses on the highest interest rate first to save the most money. For this example, ChatGPT recommends the avalanche method because that credit card at 22% interest is brutal. That's the one draining the most money every month. Now it starts building the actual plan. It tells you to keep making the minimum payments on everything and then take that extra $495 and throw it at one debt at a time. Once that debt is gone, you roll that payment into the next one, and that's how the momentum builds. So the first target is the credit card. You keep paying the minimums on the car and student loan, and you put the full extra amount toward the credit card until it's gone. Then, once that's paid off, all that money gets rolled into the car loan. That's when things really start speeding up because now you're attacking a bigger balance with a much bigger payment. After the car loan is gone, everything gets rolled into the student loan. At this point, the plan actually accelerates fast because you've combined several old payments together. And once all the non-mortgage debt is gone, ChatGPT shifts the focus toward building financial stability. Things like an emergency fund, retirement savings, investing, or even paying extra on the mortgage if you want to. What I really like about this plan is that it's realistic. It doesn't require cutting out every fun expense or living on rice and beans. It keeps your normal life intact while still giving you a clear path forward. And finally, it gives you the estimated payoff order and the biggest lessons from the example. Things like why high interest debt should be attacked first and how rolling payments creates momentum over time. All right, now that ChatGPT has built the full payoff plan, I want to take it one step further. Right here, I'm asking it to explain when the other method would be preferred, meaning when the debt snowball might actually be the better choice. This is important because not everyone's situation is the same. Some people need the fastest mathematical payoff, but others need the fastest motivation to stay consistent. So I'm having ChatGPT break that down so you can understand which approach fits your situation best. All right, so now ChatGPT is breaking down the debt snowball. The snowball method is usually better for people who need quick emotional wins, not just a mathematically perfect plan. A lot of folks don't stay in debt because they're bad at math. They stay in debt because they get discouraged or feel like they're not making any progress. That's where the snowball can be the game changer. Instead of focusing on the highest interest rate, it focuses on the smallest balance first. You make the minimum payments on everything, throw all your extra money in the smallest debt, and knock them out one by one. The whole goal is to build momentum fast, and for a lot of people, that momentum is what keeps them going. And you can see here it lists the debts from smallest balance to largest, starting with a credit card, then the student loan, and finally the car loan. In this case, the credit card still comes first, but not because of the interest rate. It's simply the smallest balance. That's the whole point of the snowball method. You attack the smallest debt first to build quick momentum. Then it breaks down who this method is actually best for. If you're someone who struggles with motivation or you've tried budgeting before and quit halfway through, the snowball method can be a better fit. Those quick wins, knocking out one day at a time, help people stay consistent. It also talks about people who feel emotionally drained by their debt. If debt has been causing anxiety, stress, or just that constant feeling of being stuck, eliminating a few small balances quickly can create real emotional relief. And honestly, that emotional progress matters just as much as the financial progress. And finally, the snowball method works really well for anyone who has a bunch of small debts, things like store cards, medical bills, or multiple credit cards. Clearing out those accounts one by one simplifies your life fast, and seeing fewer monthly payments can be a huge psychological boost. Now it's explaining the trade-off between the two methods. The snowball method usually costs a little more in interest and can take slightly longer overall, but a lot of people actually succeed with it because they stay committed to the plan. And that's the key point here. The best payoff method is the one you'll realistically stick with. Then it gives a super simple way to choose between them. If you're disciplined with money, you want to save the most interest, and you're motivated by efficiency, the Avalanche method is usually the better fit. But if you need quick wins, if staying motivated is tough, or if debt feels emotionally overwhelming, the snowball method gives you momentum early, and that momentum can make all the difference. And I love this part right here. The reminder that both methods work. The biggest mistake isn't choosing the wrong method. The biggest mistake is not having a plan at all, only paying minimums forever or continuing to add new debt. A simple, consistent plan, even if it's not perfect, can completely change your financial situation over time. Next, I'm asking ChatGPT for something a lot of people need, a few realistic tips that can help someone pay off debt faster without doing anything extreme. Not everyone can work overtime, sell a bunch of stuff, or cut their budget down to nothing. So right here, I'm having ChatGPT give 3 to 5 simple, practical things that almost anyone can do to speed up their progress without flipping their whole life upside down. The first tip is about cutting what it calls invisible expenses. These are the small things we barely notice. Unused subscriptions, convenience purchases, food delivery, impulse Amazon buys, stuff that doesn't feel big in the moment but adds up fast. Even freeing up 10, 20, or $50 in a few different areas can easily turn into an extra $100 or $200 a month going toward debt. And the best part is you're cutting things that don't actually make your life miserable. The next tip is using windfalls instead of spending them. So things like tax refunds, bonuses, birthday money, overtime pay, or even a little side job income. Most people spend that money without thinking about it, but putting those unexpected dollars toward debt can shave months, sometimes years, off your payoff timeline. The next one is simple but huge. Stop adding new credit card debt. It sounds obvious, but this is one of the biggest reasons people struggle. Trying to pay off debt while still using credit cards heavily is like trying to empty a bathtub while the faucet's still running. It's fine to use a card for normal purchases if you pay it off immediately, but avoiding new balances is what keeps the plan moving forward. Then it talks about lowering just one major monthly expense temporarily. You don't have to slash every category. Sometimes reducing just one bigger expense for a short season makes a huge difference. That could be eating out a little less, pausing an expensive hobby, cutting back on entertainment, or being more intentional with groceries. Cutting even $150 to $300 from one category can dramatically speed up your payoff timeline. And the last tip is increasing your income slightly instead of only cutting expenses. There's a limit to how much most people can cut, but earning a little extra is often easier than extreme budgeting. That could be occasional overtime, weekend side work, selling unused items, freelancing, or seasonal work. Even an extra $100 to $300 a month can shave months off your payoff plan. The goal isn't to work nonstop, just to create temporary momentum. And for the biggest key, Successful debt payoff stories aren't built on extreme deprivation or impossible budgets. They're built on small, consistent habits, staying focused, avoiding new debt, and sticking with a plan long enough for momentum to build. Slow progress that continues is always more powerful than an aggressive plan that burns out after a month or two. Consistency beats intensity every time. Now I'm getting ChatGPT to create a clean one-page printable document that can be printed out for reference and motivation. And here it is. This is the full debt payoff plan laid out in one simple, easy to follow page. You've got the payoff order, the monthly payments, how the balances drop over time, and even those realistic tips at the bottom to keep you motivated. And honestly, this is the power of using AI the right way. You take a few minutes to plug in your real numbers, and suddenly you've got a clear roadmap, something you can print out, stick on your fridge, and actually follow day to day. The whole point of this video is to show you that getting out of debt doesn't have to be overwhelming. You don't need extreme budgets or crazy sacrifices. You just need a simple plan, a little consistency, and the willingness to take the next step. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most people because you're actually taking the time to understand your situation and build a plan that works for you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the one where I walk through how I used AI to build a full monthly budget using real numbers. It's the perfect next step if you're trying to get your finances organized and take control of your money. And if you want to make your life easier, smarter, and more productive using AI, go ahead and subscribe. I cover finances, health, fishing, hunting, and how AI can elevate all of it. This is Edge Elevated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.